Hello everyone, this is Crystal with Slick Trade, and in this presentation I am going to go over the Poppin Picaso strategy. Okay, if we pull up the indicators that I use for this strategy, I'm using this semaphore, which are these sun looking indicators, okay, and there's also dots. There's not any currently on this chart, but you'll see it with the little sun, without the sun being around it. The next thing I like to use are two Hall moving averages. Okay, now I use a 14, which is this right here, following price. Okay, and then this longer Hall moving average is 100. I also like to add a moving average right here, this white one, and that's a 200. The next indicator I like to look at is the weekly high-low band. That's this purple and this red. Okay, each week it draws in the high and the low of the previous week. Okay. The next indicator is the moving average of Oscillator, which is this right here, this white. And the last indicator that I look at is the Relative Strength Index, or RSI. What I like to do is look at a few main things. Now, one is that a sun has painted, or a dot. Okay? That's the first thing I like to look at. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and this is very, very important, is that these suns do repaint. So it could have showed up here, and then when price went higher, boom, it would move. It would continue to move with price. Okay? So, you do not solely rely on these. I like to see that they've painted and that they've stayed, at least for a little bit. Okay? The next thing I like to look at is that price is above or below this longer 100 Hall moving average. Okay? So for a sell, in this example, I like to see that it's gone below it. Okay? The next thing that I like to look at is the moving average of Oscillator. Those are the three main things that I look at. So, price, first of all, the semaphore sun painted. It started to come down. It went under that 100 Hall moving average. And right there, we had the oscillator flip to the downside. Okay? So, actually that happened first. Oscillator flipped to the downside. And right there, price went under that Hall moving average. Okay? That is where I would enter a sell or short trade. Okay? When I look at RSI, I do like to just take a look at it. I do not base my trades on it, but you see back here, price went above the 70 line and then came back down and re-entered. Okay, so that's another just solid indication that it's time to enter the trade. I set my stop loss at the previous high, and I always set my take profit at around like 25 pip increments. Okay, so I'd set my first take profit at like 25, and when it got close to it, I'd just kind of move it down a bit, about 25 more pips, and I'd move my stop loss down. Okay, so that if price goes against me, I break even. I just do a trail stop, essentially. Okay, if it continues in my favor, I continue to move it down every 10 pips or so. So you stay in profit and you gain the maximum potential pips from it. Okay, let me show you another example here. Right here we have a buy. First, we have the buy semaphore. Next, we have the price re-entered. Okay, take a look at that RSI. It left and it re-entered previously. Actually happened right around the same time as the semaphore. And then right here, scoot over one more candle here, looks like. Right there is where the oscillator flipped to the upside. and boom, beautiful. Okay, let's look at another one we have here. Gosh, it's not moving. There we go. Okay, so first, bam. Okay, semaphore sun showing a sell. Next, price comes down below the Hall moving average. Moving average of oscillator, flip to the downside right there. You look previous at the RSI, it touched the 70 line and came back down right around the same time that semaphore sun painted. And then, boom. Okay, headed down, retrace back up to that Hall moving average, but, look at that, boom, 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 broke down. See that? Broke down, broke down. Okay? So that's really all there is to the Poppin Picasso. You can set, let me actually, oh, you know, I don't have my login at the moment. You can set your expert advisor, because we have an expert advisor with this, so that it trades, and I have my settings up on the expert advisor page for the Poppin Picasso, but I like to set it so that it's based on the Hall moving average, this one right here, the long one, the 100, and the oscillator. Okay, you can also base it on fractal arrows. I don't keep mine up on the chart, but it'll still pull them in. So I know a lot of you like to use the fractal arrows, and I know some of you like to use a semaphore. I don't suggest it, okay? That semaphore repaints way too much to rely on it, okay? So just something to think about there. But that is really all there is to this strategy. They're long-term trades. Not as long as the professor setup, but they usually last a few days to a week. Okay, whereas the professor usually lasts, a couple weeks to a month, right? Sometimes only a few days, but just depends on price movement. So, you guys have a great one, and I will talk to you later.